Good morning, kids. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the critique essay that we're working on. You will have noticed probably that I've added an extra week to this project, and that's because I wanted to be sure that we've all got plenty of time to complete it effectively. So it's going to be a 3-week project instead of a 2-week project, and we'll adjust things down the line so that no one gets crazy at the end of the term. But what you should be doing this week is find that article, use the opposing viewpoints series on the library database, because those things are, by definition, argumentative articles. They're positions on issues. And so find your article there. And then the other thing you should be doing this week is preparing a short summary. If you remember the summary article in your textbook, there's a longer summary and a shorter one. So you want to prepare the shorter summary for your use next week. You won't be turning this in, but you need to summarize the article for your own use so that you can critique it next week. So that's all you need to do this week. Find the article, read it, annotate it, mark it up, critically approach it, and then prepare yourself a short summary, a paragraph or two, or no more than a page. Keep it somewhere where you can find it next week. Okay, next week we'll be preparing the formal critique article for peer review. So you won't be doing peer review next week. You'll be preparing your draft for peer review, and then the following week we'll do the peer review. So next week you'll be looking at your article, looking for logical fallacies or places where the writer avoided logical fallacies, and creating opportunities. Think about it this way. When you write an essay, you study a unit, like, say, for instance, logical fallacies, and then you're assigned an essay. And your essay is your opportunity to showcase your knowledge. So it should be fairly clear what knowledge you're expecting to reproduce in this essay. And the only thing is, then you have to create opportunities for yourself to showcase your knowledge by mentioning the terminology and defining it and showing how it works and so forth. Okay, so the essay for any unit is your opportunity to craft a piece of writing that shows what you've learned. It's fairly common sense. All right? But I always have a bit of a problem with this one, and so I want to be sure that we're clear to understand. When you critique something for an essay like this, you are critiquing the argument, not the issue. I always get a half dozen papers that critique the issue, and I can't grade those because that's not what I'm asking for. So be really strict with yourself not to get distracted by the issue, but focus on the argument and how it works and whether you find it valid or invalid or not. Let me give you an example. Let's take, global warming, for instance. Let's say you pick up an article and use the thesis statement. The argument of that writer is that global warming is man-made, is created by human activity. Okay? And so that writer's argument is going to proceed along the lines of proving why the argument that it's a result of human activity is a reasonable position. So you're going to see that person arguing in favor of his or her thesis. Okay? So you're going to come along and you're going to judge the argument as to whether it's valid or invalid or not. So your thesis is going to be something like, so-and-so's argument that global warming is a result of human activity is valid because of whatever, or invalid because of whatever. So the opinion you're going to render in your critique essay is your opinion of the argument, whether the argument works or doesn't work. You will not render a position paper on the issue. And I need to be really clear about this because I'm afraid I'm going to get about 6 papers that are going to tell me, like a research paper on global warming and your opinion on whether or not global warming is man-made or not, that's not what I'm asking for, and it won't be a successful paper. So this is not like the term paper that you wrote in high school where you explored an issue and then you simply laid out the issue for your reader. Okay, the issue to an extent is irrelevant to this paper. This paper is critiquing the argument. So if you give me a paper like I believe that global warming is not a result of human activity, and then you go demonstrating the truth of your thesis that it isn't caused by people, that's not what I'm asking for in this paper. This paper is not on the issue. This paper is on the argument. It's going to seem easier to write a paper on the issue because that's what you're used to, and frankly, learning to examine arguments and critique them for logical validity, that's hard. Doing a research paper on an issue and laying out the results of your research paper is relatively easy. So I'm asking you to do the hard thing, not the easy thing. If you have any doubts at all about this, please email me, or no, don't email me, ask me the question in the general questions forum, and we will be working with some of this next week. But as you're working on your paper and you're looking at the argument, remember you are judging the argument by some other writer, not expressing your opinion on the issue. Okay, so-and-so's argument is invalid because it has 3 logical fallacies in it. That's a good thesis. Global warming is man-made is not a good thesis for this essay because that's not what you're being asked to do. One more time, forgive me if I'm overkilling here. The argument, not the issue. So one way to do this is write down on a piece of paper what the issue is, and then put a big X through that and force yourself to write down what the argument is. Again, I wanted to clarify this to be sure to try to help folks who may not be clear on this. This is not a term paper like you did in high school, and it's not really the research paper that you're going to be doing at the end of the term. It's a critique of the argument, not a position paper on the issue. So I hope that clears it up, any doubts that you might have. This week, get your article, read it, annotate it, mark it up, critically approach it, and then prepare for your own use a 1-page summary of the argument. Be sure that you get your works cited stuff right. There were several interesting variations on works cited and reference pages which lost points because they weren't accurate. We need to start sharpening this up now. So, okay, that's it. Hope you have a great weekend. I will talk to you soon. Thank you.